Hello YouTube. I've got a couple emails on how do I do my sound checking when I'm building a circuit or playing around with the Zello or whatnot. And of course the most common way is to grab a radio and talk into it and say, audio, testing, 1, 2, 3. The problem with that is the waveform is going to be modulated and it's going to be hard to get a good reading on that. And what I mean by that is, let's go ahead and unplug this cable. I'll show you here. What I mean by that is, if you look on this TV here, and I do that, radio check, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1. See how it's very hard to really get a good reading because there's a lot of modulation and the amplitude goes up and down quite fast. So what we want to do is we want to inject a steady tone. And in this case, I'm going to inject a 1 kilohertz tone. And I'm going to show you that, what does that look like. And I'm going to show you how you can do that very easily. So let me go ahead and key up the radio now. There's my 1 kilohertz tone. Nice, consistent tone. And it's rounded on the top and bottom. It's not being cut off. That's a pretty good signal there. Now, if let's show you a bad signal. So if I make it distorted, let me adjust the scope program here so you can see this better. Okay. Now if I key up the radio, see how the tops are flatlined and the bottoms are flatlined? That's clipping. That's bad. That's going to sound horrible. So let me fix that. Go back to the settings here that I needed. Hold on. So now we're back to good. Nice clean sine wave. That's called a sine wave. Okay. And maybe I can get it down to 1 cycle. Almost. But nevertheless, this is what you want to have on your screen when you're doing that. So, how do I do that? It's real simple. Real easy. There is a website I posted before, and I'll post a link down below, that lets you pick a tone and what type of waveform and how many hertz. In this case, I have it set to 1,000 hertz, which is 1 kilohertz. I have it set right here for sine wave. You want it sine wave because you want to make sure the tops are not being cut off. You don't want to select square wave because that would be kind of hard to see if your peaks are being cut off. So you want to use sine wave. I have the volume on the screen here halfway. But I do have, if you go to your main computer volume, and if you can see here in the corner, hopefully you can see this, I have many choices because I have the USB dongle hooked up. The USB dongle is what runs my scope on the screen here. So I don't want to select that. I want to select speaker headphone out. Okay? Because I want the tone to come out of the speaker jack on the computer. So I want this tone to come out the speaker jack. And for me, I got to select speaker/headphones. Obviously, I don't want to select the USB ones because that's where my scope's hooked up. That won't work. So I got to make sure I select the headphone one out. Okay? So now, when I key up the radio, you can see the tone. How do I have this hooked up? Real simple. We go to the computer here. I have the speaker jack that I just told you about, how you select it for headphone out. I have a cable. This is a 3.5 millimeter. I have a cable that goes to the microphone of the radio. Okay. And the microphone on the radio is also 3.5 millimeter. So when I key this up, it's transmitting through the airwaves that sine wave. I have this radio hooked up to my little circuit I'm experimenting with. And this radio, I have it monitoring to make sure the sine wave is being transmitted through the air. Obviously, I can't hear the sound on this one because I have the K head jack plugged in. So if I turn the volume up on this radio and I key up this radio. Hopefully you can hear that. So I know, okay, everything's hooked up right. I'm getting audio through the airwaves. I'm getting my sine wave. Now, obviously, I don't want to listen to that all day, so I turn it down. And then I do my circuit stuff. And if I ever have doubt, I just turn the volume up. Or I can look on the scope. Turn my volume up. Is it working? Yep, it's still working. Or look on the scope. But sometimes it's just easier to turn the volume up if I'm got my face down in here. So this radio is the one that's hooked up through the K-head to the breadboard. And then obviously I'm using the USB dongle here. And I got some cables I modified that I can plug into the circuit board. I'm using the microphone in on this dongle. That's part of the scope. This USB is part of the scope. So that's how I am ejecting a 1 kilohertz tone to my test circuit. Now you could use this for other stuff too. You could use it to check, on Zello or whatnot. The principle is going to be kind of the same way. You just use another radio. And matter of fact, you don't even need to use a computer to make the tone. They may be a Android app. They may be an Apple app that lets you pick tones. So you can plug your phone or your tablet into your radio, and if you have the frequencies programmed to whatever you want to connect to on your radio, you can inject tone through a repeater or through another radio to see or hear how it sounds and to do your adjustments. So that's what's kind of nice about the tone. You don't have to sit there and say audio, and it's more stable, like I said. It's a nice clean sine wave when it's set up correctly. So I hope this video is helpful. I will post the links to that tone website. I already did a video on the free scope, but I'll post a link to that video. It's a free scope software. All you need is a USB sound card. $4 for that. The cables I made. But you could take a cable and cut the end off and then make your own little probe. See how I kind of did that? If you look on these cable right here, I cut the end off and I soldered on little probes where I can plug it into the breadboard. So that's how that works there. So you can take any 3.5 millimeter cable and either use it as a cable as itself, or cut the end off and make a probe to plug into your little circuit or wherever you want to test your sound on. So there you have it. I hope this video is helpful. If you have any questions or comments, please post them down below. Please subscribe. Thank you and have a good day.